Alright, so it's 2014 and it's Christmas. Hooray for you. You start looking through your stocking to see all the cool trinkets and oranges Santa has left you. You then pull out, what's this? The video game you've always wanted. Nice. But what's more interesting to your siblings is what's at the top of the box art of that game. They instantly know what it means, as they rush downstairs to the basement to find the thing at the top of all their wish lists.
Xbox.
The Xbox 360, the first in the 7th generation of consoles, and for a while it was on top until the Wii happened and the PS3 picked up traction at the end with its exclusive titles. Despite being third place in terms of sales numbers, that in no way downplays the success of the Xbox 360, with it selling over 85 million units and still remaining as the best-selling console of the Xbox line of systems. Beginning development in 2003, the 360 was meant to be a response to the success of the PlayStation 2 and the failure of the original Xbox to cater to Japanese markets. This thing was going to be packing compared to the original Xbox, a full UI system, HD graphics, widescreen support, the first standard wireless controller, the power supply have to be external, outsourcing parts to multiple manufacturers, with dual air vents, all this stuff being crammed into a shell slimmer than the original. I see no consequences from this. And thus, when the console released on November 21st, 2005, everybody was like, yeah! And then about a week later, everybody was like, what the fuck? Red Rings of Death, as a result of overheating, became one of the most infamous hardware failures of all time due to not only how frequent it was, but how inevitable it was. However, Microsoft had the pockets to take the hit, and later on, the console would get redesigned without the freaking red ring issue, which is what I have. Now you may be wondering, why would we get an Xbox 360 in 2014 when the next generation platforms were out for a year? And the answer to that is controllers. Basically, everybody we knew had an Xbox 360, and whenever we would go over to their houses to play, their controllers would always be out of batteries, so we thought, hey, if we get an Xbox with our own controllers, then we could just bring those controllers over to their house and play normally. Yeah, I know, real big brain move. And thus, that Christmas, we got an Xbox 360 with said controllers, and of course, the games. Now, in an Xbox 360 retrospective, what channel wouldn't mention the groundbreaking exclusives like Halo and Gears of War? Games that were not only must-haves on the console, but also some of the most legendary titles of that generation. That channel would be me. You clicked on the video with a train photo for a mascot. I don't know what you were expecting. Instead, I'm going to be choosing games that were released on all platforms, so the only thing connected them is that they were all in a photo together one time. Hey, so this was my retrospective, not yours. Oh boy, we're talking about Sonic again for the second time on this channel. Hopefully this time it won't be bad. Speaking of that video, I accidentally messed up someone's pronouns, so sorry Punk Sonic if you're watching this, although you're probably not. Anyway, Sonic Generations, what many consider to be the last good Sonic game for 11 years until Frontiers came out. A person born in 2011 will be in the 5th grade by the time Frontiers release. Let that sink in for a second. The basic premise of this game is that it's Sonic's birthday. How old is he turning? Yes, but all of a sudden, a mysterious creature called the Time Eater appears and sucks up all his friends and then knocks out Sonic and sucks up time itself? I don't know. And now it's up to you to restore the timeline, save your friends from floating around without a body like they're dead, that is literally how the game describes it, and stop Dr. Eggman and the Time Eater with the assistance of your past self. You play through the game as both classic and modern Sonic. Classic Sonic being reminiscent of the gameplay of the Genesis era, while modern Sonic takes on the boost gameplay used around that time. And man, as a person who's played some of the other boost games, this one feels the best for me. The controls on the Xbox simply feel right, particularly with the face buttons, with A being jump and helmet attack as the attack is often used with platforming, B is slide since slide is the opposite of jumping and B is the opposite of A, X is boost because boost is just blue, and light dash is Y, which
come on.
The levels are split up into 3 sections with 3 stages with 2 acts. That's way too many 3s. To start things off, classic Green Hill Zone, a pretty great first impression and uses the fact that the character is 3D to its full potential. If you want to hear more about that, check out Splash Ice's video on it. Modern Green Hill is also pretty good, and it's the only good Modern Green Hill, so it has that as well. Classic Chemical Plant. Keep forgetting this one exists, honestly. Modern Chemical Plant, another fun level. I really like replaying this one. Classic Sky Sanctuary. Not personally my thing, but I do like the alternating paths. Modern Sky Sanctuary, again fun level, not that I play all the time. Death Egg Robot, alright boss fight, love the different angles here though. Classic Speed Highway, really like the aesthetic, alright to play through. Modern Speed Highway, one I try to S rank all the time. Classic City Escape, really enjoyed this one with the truck chasing you. Modern City Escape, another one I try to S rank all the time. Classic Seaside Hill, not one I replay all that much, similar story with Modern. Perfect Chaos, one of the better Sonic boss fights, I really like this one. Classic Crescent City, really replicated the stress I get when playing the original level, and chasing after the sign was a cool sadistic prank. Modern Crescent City, I hate this bit, everything else is fine. Classic Rooftop Run, I don't play this one often, but it's pretty good. Modern Rooftop, I S-rank this every time. Classic Wiz Planet, why didn't they choose Twinkle Park to represent Sonic colors? It's alright, the purple spike is a bit finicky to work with though. Modern Wiz Planet though, easily the worst level in the game, it just overstays its welcome. Egg Dragon, this goes on for way too long. Time Eater boss fight, a lame final fight where you just boost into this tunnel thing and you hit the bad guy like 3 times and bam, you're done. Obviously, I have my problems with this game, but honestly, it isn't a deal breaker for me. A lot of people say that the classic and modern Sonic thing introduced here was the thing that divided the Sonic fandom, and I agree, because I feel the fandom kinda missed the point on this one. The classic characters are meant to be the past versions of these characters, so, well yes, there are Sonics from different time periods, at the end of the day, they're the same Sonic. So, it's showing us that despite us liking different versions, when it comes down to it, we're still all Sonic fans. And then Forza screwed it up by saying that Classic was from another dimension. What the fuck? Overall, Sonic Generations is a pretty great game and is, in my opinion, a great way to get into the series, as not only does it include the most notable levels from Sonic's history, but the game is also not too difficult, it gives a decent idea as to what Sonic plots are like, and shows 2 different styles of Sonic gameplay that are the most prevalent today. The end credit scene also got me very emotional, but we don't need to talk about that. Licensed kids games, some of the most prevalent bargain bin dwellers throughout the 2000s and dying off in the early 2010s. However, one series of licensed kids games still has a respected reputation and is still memed today: LEGO games. Almost everybody has played or at least seen one of these things back then, either with the Harry Potter series or with the several Batman and DC games. However, the one that is the most iconic and birthed the modern LEGO game is LEGO Star Wars. Here I have it in the Platinum Hits casing. Remember when they used to re-release popular games at a discounted price and in turn screw up the box art? Here it uses the first design of this packaging, and I do not like how cropped the actual box art is. Either way, I was excited to get this one. I hadn't played many of the LEGO games in depth until LEGO Jurassic World, and I freaking love that game, so I was like, hell yeah, first one, let's go! The game was pretty good. Now before you get mad, I don't not like this game. I understand it is the blueprint for the modern LEGO game style, and without it we wouldn't have gotten Peak. I just found some things to be a bit frustrating for me. One is, I kinda got stuck on several portions of some levels, which I can guarantee says more about me than anything else. But more often than not, I found myself just wandering around a level and breaking stuff to see where I need to go next to no avail. In one portion of a level, I thought you needed to build this thing in order to advance to the level, and after many deaths, I finally completed it, only to realize that it was completely unnecessary and you just needed to continue to the other side of the beach and build a bridge or something. So that was fun. I did replay the game and had a better time with the prequel portion, but I'm still iffy on the original trilogy portion, so maybe on the holy third playthrough I'll be enlightened. And speaking of replays, another thing I found disappointing is the fact I don't really feel the need to replay it all that much. In comparison to LEGO Jurassic World, which I replayed so much that if I did a push-up for every time I opened a new save file, I could hold the average Discord mod in my one hand. LEGO Star Wars, I didn't even bother unlocking the other characters. Should probably do that, I really want Gongroid. Overall, I don't hate this game, I just found it a bit difficult to deal with. But the spunk and fan services, like other LEGO games, still strong here. And the fact that don't talk and have to emote everything makes the prequels a lot more enjoyable since the characters are actually showing emotion. Really good game, just some things that were mainly me problems. That and the Stormtrooper hot tub scene was set. Do I even need to explain this one? It's Minecraft. What do you want me to say? What I will say is that the Xbox 360 port was the first home console port of the game, and man did it just work. Minecraft and the Xbox go hand in hand. I can't picture the Xbox 360 without Minecraft, and that's mainly because I discovered both at the same time. My brother had a friend who, guess what, had an Xbox, and this was actually my first exposure to the console, so I was pretty intrigued by watching him play Joyride Turbo. But then, he turns off Joyride Turbo and heads to another game. That game being, well, Minecraft, of course. And I originally thought this game was boring, since my autistic brain went from seeing super fast cars, holy shit, to then placing cobblestone in a lake in a small forest. Yes, I still remember what he was doing after all that time. As time wore on, however, I eventually became more interested in the game, to the point where I was looking at Let's Plays and such, and thus I wanted some of that blocky goodness for myself, and thus on Christmas Day 2014, I found the game in my stocking. Most of the worlds I created were mostly just creative worlds I screwed around on, building to that C48 soundtrack. Good times. So here's a couple I made. World that is just my name. The reason the world title is just my name is because I saw one of my brothers playing on a world and I asked if I could play on it, to which he understandably said no, to which I replied, fine, I'm gonna make my own world and you aren't allowed to play on it, and created a super flat world purely out of spite. Most of the stuff I created on there was mainly just stuff I'd seen from Let's Plays, like the Wheel of a Time minigame from Stampy. That's how I learned to make this TNT cannon that sadly doesn't work anymore like how it used to. My Name 2, the sequel to that other world, except it wasn't on a super flat, how different. I built a house from Ed's World next to a desert, which meant it was mandatory for me to build a house from Day TDM, with a little twist. You see, in his videos he would have these custom on adventures, and at the end he would add a diorama of said adventure into the treasure room, a large hallway underground. I had this too, except I filled it with my own life experiences, which was fun. I also let my brother play on this world, so it wasn't exclusive to me. Plymouth was up with a weird name this time. Everyone knows the story of the first Thanksgiving, pilgrims, corn, genocide, all that, and the village they established was called Plymouth. I decided to boot up a world, name it Plymouth, find a village, and that would be Plymouth. Unfortunately, I cannot find a village, so we gave up on that plan and built a house inside of a mountain. Unlike the other two worlds, this world was free for any of my brothers and friends to play on, and boy, did we build a lot. My brothers expanded the house. I built a sideways bridge leading to it, which I was really proud of. I built a bunch of Thomas statues, the creeper coaster, this thing, and my brother chopped down an entire area of forest, crafted them into planks, and put them all in chests. Why? I don't know why. Overall, Minecraft is just a really great game. It has the ability to win over almost everybody, even people who initially hate it. Here's my evidence. Literally my favorite game of all time. That and it's the Legacy Console Edition, we all know Legacy Solos. Eventually we did get that Xbox One and enjoyed those new console jitters for a bit. Heck, I even bought Minecraft on it. However, I ended up moving back towards the 360 as my older brother ended up using it more often. The original 360's disk drive actually broke off, so we had to get an entirely new one, and that's the one I used to play Minecraft up until around 2015-2016. By then we had sold most of the games we had on the console, but it was still plugged in until my brother got a PS4, and since then it had been stuck in a drawer in my room, with the last game I played on it being Joyride Turbo. The first game I ever saw on the 360, now the final one I played. Okay, technically it was Sonic 06, but I just wanted to be poetic. That thing stood on the shelf for around 4 years until I was like, dog, what if we plugged in that console again? And that thought was manifested by my brother, who got the cables and a new game for it, that being LEGO Dimensions, which he played like once and then later unplugged the console again. That's when I decided to set up the console again in the basement, and with an old copy of GoldenEye Reloaded, I began playing this console and have built up a small game collection of my own. Now I'm going to rank all the ones I have played based on my own personal enjoyment of them. Enjoy my extremely trash opinions. Forza Motorsport 4, I bought this used at a GameStop while getting a new controller for the console. I popped it in once, played one race, and haven't touched it again. Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. You know, I really have to commend Sonic 06 for being the first game that made me actively not want to play it. They really weren't lying when they said you bump into glitches left and right. It's not like the game completely breaks down, but oftentimes you'd be playing it and it's like, why? I got about as far as Flame Core when I was like, I have to complete this and then play the Shadow and Silver stories after. Screw this, I'm relapsing. LEGO Dimensions. I don't hate this one nearly as much as Sonic 06, it just isn't that interesting to me, plus it requires accessories. Curse you, Toys to Life! Sonic Unleashed. Now, if you think I'm gonna absolutely slam the Werehog, don't worry, I was okay with that. Instead, I could think of like 4 different things to complain about. 1. X being both boost and homing attack. I'm just not a fan. Why couldn't homing attack just be double tap A? 2. This game has a weird obsession with food. Not so much a complaint, just a weird thing I noticed. Makes sense for Chip considering he turns out to be, you know, like Gaia, but then you have Professor Pickle going on this whole rant about ham sandwiches. Like, is that even listening to what the other characters are saying? Who is this hungry at SEGA? Speaking of Chip, number 3, I wasn't that attached to Chip. I didn't hate him or think he was annoying, I just didn't feel all that close to him, and his death wasn't really impactful considering, you know, he wasn't dead, he was just in the earth forever, which I guess is meant to be the sad part, but he only really cares about food, so he's kind of like me. 4. Sun and Moon medals. I hate them. I hate when you have to collect these godforsaken tokens just to keep playing the game. I just want to play through it normally without having to do all this extra stuff. I've ranted about this game long enough. Moving on. GoldenEye Reloaded. Made a terrible review about this game, but my thoughts are mostly similar. It's essentially your average shooter, with the most notable thing about it is that it's a GoldenEye remake starring Daniel Craig. If you want to give this game a shot, play the Wii version. It's a lot more notable in its online multiplayer, and we're using the Wii mode actually gave you the upper hand. On the 360, it's just your standard first-person shooter. Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. A pretty great collection featuring a buttload of games from the Genesis era with a lot of care and attention to detail. Only problem is I don't play it that often. I just boot up Sonic 2, play for a bit, pop out. Dreamcast Collection. In contrast, a worser collection, but one I got more out of from Sonic Adventure alone. I enjoyed this game a lot, even the bit of cat levels I didn't hate. If this game were on its own, it would honestly be higher up, but since it's a part of a collection that doesn't even feature Adventure 2 or Shenmue or Jet Set Radio, it's unfortunately placed here. Skate 3, played this one a bit, and you may recognize it for Steez shredding it for our sins. Even when you fail at this game, it's still fun because of how brutal it can be. It's just played for fun. LEGO Star Wars is next, and while a good game, it certainly can't beat LEGO Jurassic World, baby. This is my favorite LEGO game, so when I saw the version on the 360 at a GameStop, yeah, I bought it in a heartbeat. In second place, Sonic Generations, just a plain fun trip through Sonic's history that I don't think overstays its welcome, and had me in the feels with the credits. And my favorite 360 game, to the shock of no one, is Minecraft. This, in my opinion, represents the Xbox 360 almost perfectly. Something for both casual and hardcore gamers, and while fun on your own, it's a hell of a lot funner in multiplayer, particularly online, where you form friendships that either last a lifetime or are forgotten. It is truly a game I will never get tired of. There are some other games I have but I haven't played yet, and some games I'm looking to pick up, like Transformers Devastation or Minecraft Story Mode, but I'm too busy working hard.
Working hard so I can please you.
The Xbox 360 was the first home console we had, and it gave me a lot of memories of either playing by myself or with my brothers and friends. And though the Xbox One may be backwards compatible to 360, I will still fire that old thing back up. It is, and always will be, my favorite video game console of all time. Except the Kinect, that sucked. This is Liam Keaton, and that's about it.